So the Tulsi Gabbard video is doing really well. The Joe Rogan video is doing alright. But now I have a video featuring both Tulsi and Joe. This is great. So here's, like, honestly, this woman has my heart. She really does. I really want her to be president, or at least be in somebody's cabinet. Because she definitely knows how this game goes. And her and Joe Rogan sat down together and really knocked it out the park. So I want to play this. I'm going to be cutting in because, copyright and all that other stuff. So let's get to it.
Experience throughout my over 6 years in Congress that really started like when I first went up after I got elected. Where after every election happens, the new members of Congress, they go and they have what's called new member orientation, and they give you these books, and here's the maps, and here's where your office is, and all the administrative and logistical stuff. But very quickly, I would say within the first few days, where we first come in together as Democrats and Republicans, immediately, okay, Democrats go this way, Republicans go this way.
Okay, so should I do sports references? This is apparently the point in which, hey, Patriots, you go over there, Seahawks, you go over there, and duke it on out.
Immediately separated. And what we're told right off the bat is, look, this is about getting wins for our political party. And if you work with a Republican, then that's going to hurt the party, especially if you work with a Republican that the Democratic Party is trying to take out. Forget the substance of the idea. Forget the substance of the bill. And this happens on the opposite side as well. Republicans with Democrats, both political parties are guilty of this, where they're really putting the interests of the political party ahead of the people who just voted for us to go and serve them, and not.
So here's where Tulsi, darling, I love you. But here's where I can't help but feel like there's a little bit of disingenuousness going on, because you knew this going in. You know this at the state level. You know this at the local levels. This is not anything like brand new. Like, oh, like she's trying, like, darling, I love you so much. But like, you're trying to make it seem as if you did not know this, like that, like you weren't well prepped for this at the state level, because you have to go through, well, normally, I'm not sure how she particularly got elected, but from my own dealings in politics, I know that these lines have been drawn for generations. And so when you're coming up through the process to get to a point where Rep Gabbard is, it's like embedded from jump. So that point in orientation really shouldn't, I guess, be a surprise, or I feel like it's just a little disingenuous to act as if, oh my goodness, this was a shock. Like, no, not at all.
Just the Democrats who voted for me, but yes, the independents and the Republicans, both who voted for me or who didn't, but who I serve as part of my constituency. And I've continued to see this, where, you'll have a bill that because it's a Democrat bill, Republicans will vote against it, substance aside, or a Republican bill, Democrats will vote against it just because it's a Republican bill. But then, hey, if they come in and, a month or a year later introduce the same bill or a similar bill, but now because it's a Democratic bill, okay, everybody, hey, let's go and support this legislation. You can imagine why there is so much gridlock in Washington, why nothing really gets done, and ultimately how this divisiveness and this hyperpartisanship is hurting the ability for the needs of the American people to be served.
When you talk about people like yourself that are completely funded by the public, mm-hmm. and you have this very logical and objective way of discussing this gridlock, do you think that the future is in young people like yourself getting involved in politics, that they're not connected to this old world for 35, 45 years? This world, it sounds like this is just what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched House of Cards. Mm-hmm. I get it sort of. That seems like chaos. Yeah. And it seems like there's no way to fix that. It's almost like these people have to stop being politicians. Yeah. They have to be voted out or die off. I mean,
well, I think it's evident where we see those who are very entrenched in this this broken system feel very threatened by the rise of people-powered campaigns, individual contributions coming in and supplanting the big money that they get from, the PACs and lobbyists, and there's fear there because they see their whole world being disrupted by people like me or others who are coming in and saying, no, we're not buying into any of that, and we're coming in to actually fulfill the mission that we've been charged with by those who voted for us, to serve the people.
So they're basically talking about all these geriatrics that, stay and remain in power for 30, 40. I mean, we're talking full lifetimes, like there are people who have lived and died since Pelosi and Maxine Waters, Chuck Schumer, just all of these people have been in power. And then there's a bit of a revolving door that supplements and backs up and hoists up this structure that we have here, because if it's not one, it's just the other. If you think that there aren't 45 people vying for any position of power or prominence for their own particular reasons, then you're just, I don't know, like, how's life? I mean, how does it feel being 3 days old?
All the people of this country.
And would you say that, well, this is my position. I think that Trump plays a part of that, because I think he was the first guy to come in basically self-funded, or being funded through his own means, and not listening to the rest of the Republican Party saying, hey, I'm going to take over, and I'm going to do this my way. And then knowing that he could do that, and knowing that there were so many Republicans against him, and knowing that there's so many Democrats against him as well, but yet he's still the president.
Yep.
Like, people are like, Jesus, this is a fragile system. Like, this system it's what they've done to acquire power is still very vulnerable, even though they have this deeply entrenched system of weird little relationships that...
Okay, Joe, so I want to cut you off right quick, because that system of relationship that's called the plantation, brother, it's the jobs, it's the, it's public service work. It's, director of housings, as the administrative bureaucracy. Yeah, it really is just a whole lot of bureaucracy, and that plays a huge role in the gridlock as well, that you have so many different people who require on ridiculous paychecks. I mean, here in New Jersey, we have this EDA scandal going on right now, where this, Economic Development Authority or something like that, where it was basically a patronage pit, a way station where you had the head of the entire system making about $250,000 a year, which is ridiculous. So there's quite those relationships of which you speak. They really trickle down to the state and local levels, to whereas, you have a congressman come to any precinct in their district, then they're gonna sit there and be like, oh my goodness, it's such a big deal that the congressman is here. Oh my God, I've witnessed this firsthand. So it's like, instead of, doing their jobs, they'll sit there and they'll have a whole little ceremony and stuff like that just because a congressman walked through the door. So it's called the plantation, and there's so many levels to it, and it goes so deep and it's so entrenched. I mean, we're talking about police, we're talking about from police to the guy that cuts your park's grass. It is a very, very deep and just a marinated mindset that takes place and is taken hold, and really has props up these elders in the positions that they're in, because you don't want to go against the plantation.
Not good enough.
Yeah. That
That if the people do rise up and they decide, hey, we want to put Tulsi in as president, you're going to have a different situation. A lot of you clowns are going to be out of work.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's really that's the message that we're carrying to living rooms and town halls and communities across the country is Washington continues to underestimate the power of the people.
And it's supposed to work for you.
Exactly. And that's the thing is, our founding fathers had this vision for our country that our government would be of the people, by the people, and for the people. And instead, what we have is a government of the rich and powerful, by and for the rich and powerful, or of the special interests in corporations, by and for the special interests in corporations.
Yes.
All right, so she's right. I mean, without question, but it really has gone to a point where, like how to put it? If you take let's take a small city council, right? If someone has about 20 grand, they can easily purchase a seat. Now, what they could do is just take 10 grand and give it to the county coffers. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, here's a $10,000 check, and I'm gonna take the other 10,000, make some pamphlets, do some lit, and you can get yourself. These seats are easy to purchase. They really are. The deal is that normal Americans don't really think in that manner and direction. Secondly, all it takes is one corporate backer. Like, let's take a corporation such as Dollar General, right? They want to get this place in West Bumble, New York. And so they want the space. So what they can do is, as a corporation, through various means, they can sit there, toss dollars into somebody's campaign. They can back a candidate, and boom, they can have everything that they want, everything that they need to get the permits and build their Dollar General in that place. So, I mean, our political game is amazing. It's like horse racing. It's so incredible because, you want to, it's like betting on horses when it comes to a lot of these things.
And, we the people get left behind.
And they continue to talk to us like they're in control.
Yeah.
They're one of us, and they're supposed to be public employees. They're supposed to be servants.
That's right.
Of the public.
Yeah.
They don't talk like that.
No.
They talk like people who are in a position of power and influence.
Yeah.
And
because they are. And the weird part is that most of them don't they act like they're like Kardashians, but most of them don't want the notoriety of like a Kardashian. Most of them would much rather be under the rug and just like really sweep things under the rug and do as little as possible. I mean, my Congressman Donald Payne Jr., like, he was kind of just, gifted his position from his dad because of the name recognition. And so no matter what, particularly in places, in urban communities, when you have these long-standing names, it goes a very long way into solidifying and maintaining power, because back in like the 70s or something like that, somebody gave somebody a job. So thusly, oh man, I love him. I'm going to wreck with him for forever. And what happens is that you just fall in love with the name. And in the meantime, in between time, you have terrible policies such as the drug war and these charter schools that are meant to just sabotage the residents and constituencies. But that's I'm strictly speaking of urban America at this point.
It's not healthy. It's not a healthy perspective.
It's evident of that huge disconnect between the bubble that is Washington and the reality of the lives that we live every day, people all across this country.
That's always the case, though. When people get in control of things, they always meddle, make it easier for them, make it better for them. What can I do to make this a little easier? Is there another way? How can I help myself here? How can I make sure that when I get out of office, I can do these public speaking tours and make $250,000 a pop?
Yeah.
When I hear about the money those guys make to just go and talk, I'm like, what? Who is paying for that? Who is paying to listen to Hillary Clinton
What are they getting out of it?
What?
So, JP Morgan Chase, just gigantic bank. I mean, you're asking questions that you already know the answer to, Joe. Come on, man. You're better than that.
You're getting out of that.
That's right.
Can I listen? I would love to pretend to be a banker, to put a lizard skin face mask on and go sit with those bankers and listen to one of those conversations that Hillary Clinton got paid $250,000 to talk.
Yeah, never release the transcripts for.
What is that about?
Yeah.
Who is? It's some weird sneaky deal that they make.
Yeah.
Well, pause, because I remember somebody, they didn't release a transcript, but there's been plenty of people who were in those meetings that said, you have to have, what did Hillary say? You have to have a public position and a private position and all these other just like nutty things. So, I mean, the transcripts may never be released, but people definitely have come out speaking on what she said. And it's basically, you know, I mean, screw them, screw the poor, you know, and it's sad, but that really is the way in which this country operates. You know, even the poor themselves don't like the poor, you know, like how many people working at McDonald's drive up and like, you know, kind of like have a side eye at the guy that pumps their gas, like here in New Jersey, because I know the rest of the country doesn't do that. I know we're weird like that, but I think it's an insurance thing because we are so corrupt. We are so utterly corrupt. But either ways.
Where, I mean, nobody wants to pay that. Like, go do that in Madison Square Garden. See how many tickets you sell.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Bill and Hillary are doing like the speaking tour thing right now. Yeah. I am baffled as to who is going to pay to go see Bill and Hillary bullshit them.
That's right.
That's the thing, though. They're not. If you got that kind of money, they ain't gonna bullshit you. That's the amazing thing. If because that was the point. Let's go back to that thing that I said about the Hillary statement. You have to have a public position. You have to have a private position. That was her being honest. Like that. What we get, what the public gets, is the bullshit. No. What these people are paying for is for Bill and Hillary to come and be honest with them.
They're doing it together now, right?
Yeah. Bill is so old. Why doesn't he just come clean? You know, I would love to get that guy and just get him drunk and put him on the edge. Just like have him just talk about life. No, you only got like a few years left. Everything's falling apart in your body. Yeah. What are your regrets? Yeah. What'd you do wrong? What could you have done differently? Stop all this bullshitting. Yeah. Like what?
You know what? I've thought this too. I would love to have to just take Bill Clinton to a strip club. I think that would be the dope. Like, oh my! You saw his face when Ariana Grande came across the screen during that funeral for Aretha Franklin. Yo, get Bill to a strip club, get him liquored up. Oh my God, that would be such an amazing conversation, Joe.
You know,
you should have him on your show, Joe.
I would love to. I would love to do mushrooms with him. That's what I want to do. I would have him on the show and do it in Colorado because they decriminalize mushrooms. It's just this role of being the person that is in control of this country has always been this impossible task. And when I see a person like you who wants to do it, I say, listen, you have some of the best ideas and the most healthy perspective that I've ever heard from anyone that's ever running for president. But why would you want to do that to yourself? Those are the two things that I think of.
Because it's not for myself. And it's not to be in control of the country and the people. It's to serve the people and our country. It's a continuation of this mission that I've chosen for my life to be of service, to find different ways to do that. You know, it started in Hawaii with gathering my friends as a kid and going and picking up trash off the beach on the weekends and experiencing even then at a young age that made me happier than anything else.
You got like a sister or a cousin or something like that? I mean, golly, how do you not just get all warm inside watching her talk about her reasoning behind trying to become president? I mean, golly, honest engine, I don't think that 2020 is the time, but 2024, come on, Donald, you got it. I believe in you. Like I really do. As long as you keep that anti-establishment wanting to, actually change, make real substantive change for the system and do right by the American folk, then seriously, go get them.
You know, going and playing video games with my friends or anything like that. And that mission that was deeply ingrained in me further with my service in the military, serving as a soldier where, you know, I'm serving alongside people of all walks of life, as you know, every race, religion, ethnicity, orientation, everything, every one of us wearing that same uniform, serving that same flag that represents the American people.
Yeah, so as a veteran myself, she ain't lying. I mean, if you ever want to see a whole bunch of diversity, get into the military, okay? It really is the most. I like our military. Really shows how diverse and how different we all are, and it's a reason why we have one of the strongest in the world. Not just because we spend the most money on ours, but because it's filled with a ton of really great people. But really great people who are all following orders. And, you know, it's important that they receive those orders from someone that has the type of demeanor and class in which Miss Gabbard exudes. And that's not to speak ill of our current leadership, because, you know, our leadership is what our leadership is. It's one of those things that you really don't have much control over. But, you know, I would be honored if it was serving under her. When I served, it was during 9/11. It just happened, and we were about to make the huge mistake of Afghanistan and Iraq. So, you know, that was nutty. But that's a different that really YouTube. I'm making a video for you right now, and you're gonna sit here and jump with that Spider-Man How Far From Home thing. Whatever.
With that laser-like focus on putting service above self. And that's what I seek to bring to the White House, to restore those values of integrity and honor and respect, to make it so that that White House is a beacon of light for the American people, to know that that White House belongs to them and represents them and their interests alone.
Does anybody, I mean, even a person like you who's on the outside, do you think anybody truly knows what it's like to run the country until they get in there? Can you even have an idea of how impossible a task it is to be in control of the economy, the environment, the infrastructure, the military, our position in the world? It seems like the most insane duty to require someone to run all those things, to be aware of all those things, to be responsible for all of the successes and all of the failures.
Yeah. It's an awesome responsibility. There's no question about that. And I think it fulfills that higher calling. That this is not about.
Well, see, I think it's more like a delegator, though. I mean, from what I see of the position, it's more delegation. It's more, you know, putting the right people in the right places. It truly is leadership, without a question. But it's really about the people that you have underneath you. And it's one of the things that's really worried me about the Trump administration, is that you've had so many people who are just so angry and really butthurt and in their feelings and in their emotions, that when they think like that and when you're thinking like that, you're not making good decisions, and you kind of got to settle for what you can get. And that's really where the president has been. Like, I would love for her to be on his cabinet. You know, I'd love for her to be in any position particularly when it comes to the military, any particular position where, you know, she has a modicum of control. But like, and it's not knocking her answer by any stretch of the imagination. I just feel as if, you know, one of them, like, yeah, it's the lead singer of a band, though. You know, I think that makes the most sense. It's a lead singer of a band. It, like, yeah, they the ones singing the songs. They're the one you're going to remember the most. But, you know, you got your bass player, you got your saxophonist, you got the guitarist and the drums. So there's a ton of other just as important people that take place. And, you know, I would have liked that to see that team theme more in her answer, but, you know, it is what it is. I still love you.
Any kind of selfish interest. This, for me, is not about any kind of ambition that I've had. I've never had any kind of thought, well, I want to be president one day, or even I want to be a member of Congress one day. It's always been about how can I best be of service, and how can I make a greater impact? And that's what I've seen throughout my time in Congress, where I've served on these committees. I've served on the Foreign Affairs and Armed Services committees. I've been calling for and fighting for an end to these wasteful regime change wars, an end to this new Cold War and nuclear arms race. There's only so much I can do as a member of Congress. To be able to serve as President and Commander-in-Chief, I know that I can make that kind of impact and see change in our policy that keeps our country safe, that moves us closer to that future of peace and prosperity. And that's where I hope to be able to make a difference.
Man, genuine. Pure genuineness. So with that being the end of that video, I think this is the end of this video. What do you think of Tulsi? I mean, the other video, I got quite a few comments. So let me, like, this is a person that I really think is genuine and authentic. And so maybe it's just me. Or hey, maybe I think another video, 35%. 35%, but this other 65 is totally on solid ground. So, with that being said, that's the end of this. By all means, like, sub, share, speak if you liked it. If you want to sub and hear more of my insane rantings, if you feel, hey, maybe we should give Tulsi a serious shot, I can't wait to see her on the debate stage. Until the next video, guys. 1.